celebrate whatever moment they can. And it doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes we think things have to be on a big grand scale. Just having special moments for yourself, special moments with loved ones, just to really cherish those things and, enjoy.
Welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesdays, where I share conversations that I have with successful women, all answering the same questions. And then we simply chat it up a bit. You get to be a fly on the wall in these conversations. Today, I have an uncommon but very important chat with Koreen Lucas. Koreen has spent her career devoted to providing peace of mind and comfort before and after end of life. She's seen firsthand the significance of honoring and celebrating life, preserving memories that can last generations. I am so happy to share this conversation today because Koreen has something to say about quality of life. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, great. So this is just a conversation. It's not an interview. It's us just chatting it up like we usually do. So, and Diego might make a guest appearance because I see him right here. So, all right. Well, what is quality of life to you?
Well, Chelsea, I think this question, even though it's so simple, it really makes for a lot of introspection, right? Because it's a very simple question, but as I thought about this, as I knew we were going to be talking on this topic today, it's very easy to go very deep very quickly.
I love it. Go deep, go
right?
quickly.
But really just basically to answer it simply, I think quality of life really touches on some main general areas of life, right? So thinking spiritually, mentally, emotionally, socially, physically, all of those areas really encompass what create our quality of life. And having balance in those areas, it's never going to be 100% in all areas at all times, right? But touching on those certain aspects, I think, is what encompasses quality of life, if that makes sense.
And so is that specifically to you or your definition of quality of life?
Well, I think specific to me. I think as I went through in my younger years more of my own healing and health journey, that was really presented to me and something that I had focused on and worked on. So when it comes to where do I maybe feel out of balance or does something not feel right, I kind of take maybe just a little inventory of maybe what is off balance, off center, what do I need to focus on, and work in those areas.
Yeah, I love how you encompassed multiple topics into that. Kind of what I heard you say in my own kind of small umbrella is mind, body, spirit, and thought. I don't know if you included that one in there, but it's yeah, I love that. Okay, so where do you thrive in incorporating quality of life into your everyday busy life?
Well, I think it has to do with having those intentionalities, right? Because if we just go about life and let life direct us, we're just going to get blown about by the things that come our way.
Yeah.
And another way to say it, another phrasing that I've heard is either you are the wind or you are the flag, right? So the flag gets blown about by the wind, or you can be the wind that directs where the flag will go.
Yeah.
So having that intentionality in my day, I think the things that really help me is worship music. That has always been something that has been helping me to be recentered and refocused. And so I'm learning that that's a non-negotiable in my life and something that I just have to have on a very regular basis. Not in a religious or militant sort of way, because again, I think trying to create too much rigidity in a schedule, that doesn't seem to work well for me. And it's more of checking into each moment of, okay, in this day, in this moment, what do I need that is going to help me move forward and be successful.
Non-negotiable, but not militant. I don't know about you, but sometimes I tend to, in the beginning of my non-negotiables, lean towards being militant. And
Absolutely.
then and then I have to find that balance, or I catch myself in, okay, no, 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 this just needs to be something that's incorporated, not every single thing.
Mhm. Yeah, we think about routines, we think about our daily schedules, and we get to thinking that sometimes things have to be every single day. I mean, and that might be true with certain personal hygiene issues that we need to take care of every
Good
single day.
point.
But so some things, yes, but when it comes to those other things that help us with our quality of life, I know that I have had a tendency to maybe be a little hard on myself when I have missed a day or haven't had uh,
Mm,
the the routines that I wanted to have. So I think moving forward, I've been a little more forgiving and a little more
yeah.
flexible and realize, oh, these are things that are benefiting me. And so the days that I choose to have the routine and the days that I am waking up earlier to fit these things in, whether that's exercise or reading scripture or having a little more time to get to work and not rush, then I just have a better day, a better outcome.
Yes. I love to call that quality of life harmony. Say hi, Diego. If you're going to get in the thing, say hi. Wait.
Hi, Diego.
Um,
Aw.
I love to call that quality of life harmony. Because sometimes there's a balance and there's we can do this for this so many days a week, but the harmony is some days you can't do it. Some days you'll be able to have more energy to do it.
Mhm.
All right.
And that's
So,
one thing too. Yeah, go ahead with your
nope,
next question.
I was going to transition. Keep going.
Well, I was going to say as well that our best looks different every day.
Yeah.
And that has to do with the different circumstances of life and what comes our way. And we're going to have different demands, whether that's family or work or our own health. And so our best looks different every day. And so we need to respond in kind and with kindness as well to ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. I keyed in that word kind, in kind. Yes. And with kindness. All right. So, where and when and how are you challenged to incorporate your quality of life?
Well, I think a big challenge that I have is one thing that I know that is so recharging. And I know this was part of your question as well, is being in nature and
Mhm.
just getting out there, having that time to really be refreshed and recharged. And I don't always find a lot of time for that. And so that's, I think, my biggest challenge is really making the time for the things that I know are going to be so beneficial, right? But we
Yeah.
have to do those things. It's a gift to ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we're not gifting ourselves first, we really can't gift to others. And I think so many of us are generous, kind people at heart, and we want to give the best of ourselves to others. So it really requires that we are kind and gifting to ourselves first so that we have that to give.
Yes. And if we are not able to do that with ourselves, we will be giving it to other people. But we're also, you said it's a gift, we'll be giving what we could be giving to ourselves away. And I have found that it empties us. So you're talking about nature. That was the first thing you were talking about, it being challenged to get into nature. What does nature look like to you?
Hmm. So yes, anywhere that is outdoors, the beach, a park, mountains, anywhere that I can just breathe fresh air and not be attached to anything electronic, and even just going for a walk in the neighborhood, right? That can even be outside and
Hmm.
part of nature. Really taking note and being aware of the trees and the wildlife, the birds, the animals. And even when I can't spend a lot of time with that, most days I try to take my lunch break and eat outside, because we do have a small area where I can do that. And so I make sure to not have my phone open and on with me, but to really be aware and present in the moment, enjoying my lunch, letting that be recharging and refueling to me, and then enjoying the trees, feeling the air, and then watching what's going on around me, because that is truly a lunch break. And then
Yes.
that helps me for the rest of the day as well.
Yes. It is so sometimes challenging when we are people on the go to literally stop. And I always say it's counterintuitive that, but it's the most important thing we can do is stop or pause, take in our surroundings. It regulates our nervous system. It gets us grounded. It gets us in tune with something bigger than ourselves. And so I love that you say that it's anything from going for a walk in a neighborhood to going to the beach to going to the mountains. Because a lot of times we think, oh, nature, I need to go in these big fields and, be, where there's snow or there's all these wild animals. And no, it can, especially for a lot of us who don't live in those areas, it can be something as simple as going outside, soaking up a little bit of the vitamin D in the shade if you need to, and kind of just really being in touch with something different than a building and electronics. You mentioned electronics for sure. Yeah. Well, the first thing that when you first said that, so I've been to your place of employment and we're going to talk about that in a second. But the first thing that I thought was, oh my gosh, how I was going to say ironic, but that's not the word, how convenient, because very often I drive by where you work. And so you work at, do we call it a mortuary? What do we call it?
Yeah, so Westminster Memorial Park and
Park.
Mortuary, we're a
Yes.
cemetery and funeral home. We also handle cremation services, so it's a combination location of
Yes.
all of those different things.
Thank you for that clarification, because when I drive by there, it is in a very busy area of town on a very busy street. And I always kind of take a deep breath, just even by looking at the unexpected expanse of greenery in that area. And I think I've caught myself thinking a few times, I wish we had more green spaces like this. I really do where we live. And, okay, we live close to the beach, so maybe people think, oh, well, you don't need the beach or whatever people were thinking in our planning. And that's a whole other story. We live in Southern California. But I really wish that we had more green spaces like that. And also wondering, why does it take something as significant as where someone's laid to rest to be able to afford those properties? But I love that you get to literally step outside if you are able to and excuse me, and get inside of that greenery area. With that, one of the reasons that I wanted to have this conversation with you is because I know that the work that you do is so important. And it's something, as you say all the time, that we are all going to need at some point, and we are all going to be exposed to, whether it's for ourselves, even though we won't be aware of it, or our family. And so would you share a little bit about, without going into all the details, but would you share a little bit about your heart for what you do?
Hmm, absolutely. And thank you for asking me to share this, because my heart for what we do is really to assist families before, during, and after the loss of a loved one. And what that looks like, what that means, is helping to educate families and friends that you can pre-plan for whatever type of arrangements best suit your needs, whether that's cremation services, funeral services, or selecting a space for in the cemetery for an urn, for a full casket. Whatever those plans are, it's an easier conversation to have when everyone's healthy, well, doing fine, alive, so you can know what the wishes are and be confirmed that you're doing the right thing, honoring your loved one. It also gives you the opportunity to make payments in advance if you're not ready to just write a check for the full amount. Some families can do that and it's not an issue, but for others, it could be really hard to come up with all of the funds all at once. So we want to give families as much time as possible to be prepared. And by doing that today, then that means we're honoring and guaranteeing today's pricing so that many, many years to come in the future, say, I plan today, but then I don't pass away for 20, 30, 40, hopefully years, then even though prices increase with inflation, my family won't have to pay that difference because they've already purchased it. It's already been guaranteed. Mm-hmm. So there are many benefits to pre-planning. Yes. For families that haven't planned ahead and haven't known that they could do that or chose not to for a variety of reasons, then we will assist them at that time in that grief to make those decisions that they need for the immediate services that they're planning for their loved one. And we will walk alongside them to make the best decisions that they can make for their family, coordinate all of the arrangements for them, and see that through. Yeah. And then every family that I meet with after the burial services take place, I have a second meeting with them to help them with everything that is still important but wasn't as urgent for the burial to take place. Yeah. So kind of reviewing all of the services, going over additional support and grief material items, and then discussing any future memorialization, meaning like the marker or headstone, either for an in-ground space or above ground space, and offering continuing support, because this is not an easy process to go through, and we never want anyone to have to feel like they're going through it alone. So we have ongoing care, a lot of things to offer to help support.
Well, so thank you for sharing all of that, because we don't talk about this enough, and we really don't. And that's why I'm so impressed. And that's what I love about hanging out with you and seeing you. We met at networking and have just kind of kept in touch. And I got to go to your place and you gave me the tour and get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. But when I first met you, I thought, there's not enough people. I never come across anybody in your industry. And that doesn't mean that y'all don't exist, because obviously you do. I think, but you have been out in the community and in public, not afraid to talk about pricing, not afraid to talk about what is important to think about, when it's important to think about it, and how you can support people in that. And, because I personally, in my family dynamic, we've had 2 deaths suddenly happen and we were not prepared. And so when someone goes through something like that, it leaves such an emotional, mental, and physical impression on us. And it makes actually the process of death and dying, it's a hard process as it is. But what I love about you and how you show up is you're not afraid to talk about it. If there's one thing that we can help you alleviate, let it be this, because it's going to be hard and painful and emotional no matter what. Would you mind sharing a little bit about what got you into this?
Absolutely. So in the beginning, 28 years ago, almost, I had heard through a friend that there was an open position in the administrative office. And at the time I had administrative background experience and I was looking for a new job. So I literally fell into this industry because everywhere there's paperwork. And so I thought, well, I know a friend of a friend, so I'll just apply here. But then I found out about the concept of pre-planning, and that just made so much sense to me, as I've just explained. And I thought, someday I might be in this role of assisting families in this way. So here I am today doing that very thing. And I've worked for this company all this time, and that's not very common. Sometimes even within the industry, people will move to different locations, different companies, but I've worked for this company continuously since then in different areas. I've transferred to other states, but consecutively have worked for this company. It's been a great place to work. I have learned and grown so much through it, and have even helped put my own pre-plans in place, other family and friends. And like you said, it's a hard process to go through a loss, but it does make it a little bit easier when you have something that has been planned and has been funded. So um, really it's I just got my foot in the door and I have been here ever since. I just fell in love with the coworkers, the people that I work with, the work that we do, and I thoroughly enjoy coming to work every day knowing that I am going to help make a positive difference in someone's life and help them in a meaningful way.
Yeah. Have you ever had any moments where it has gotten hard and you have had to think, whew, should I still be here in this career? Not in the world, but in your career. And if you have had those moments, how did you step out of it?
Mm. Yeah, I think there have been times when it has been difficult because the nature of what we do is very deep and it can be trying at times. I think in those moments, a few years ago, I think it was very challenging for me. I was working in a different state at the time, but in when we have those kinds of deep challenges. I think that is kind of internally us telling ourselves to take a step back and kind of take stock and weigh things out. Sometimes that's yourself telling yourself to really examine the situation and really do some introspection. And maybe there is a different role that's a better fit for you. And I did make a change within the company at that time to move into this position that I'm in now, and so it was very helpful because sometimes we outgrow and we no longer fit in the role that we're doing. So that's not always a bad thing
Yeah.
when you get to that point where you're like, this isn't working anymore, or why does this feel difficult? Why is this frustrating? Or why am I feeling challenged everywhere? Because sometimes we grow to a certain point, or when you're doing the same thing for so long, you can reach a point where things are stagnant. And sometimes it's good to have a change so that someone new can come into that same position or role and bring new life and new things to it that I might never have brought because I was just doing the same sort of thing over and over. And it was a new opportunity for me to do something new and grow in a new way. So even though it's a challenge and it feels difficult and it's hard, sometimes that can be the best thing. Storms sometimes clear the path. They don't always destroy everything.
Yeah. And when we're in it, it's again what I was saying earlier, is sometimes it's counterintuitive. You just want to keep going. You just want to, I can do this. I can, and the beauty is what I hear you saying is you took a step back, you assessed the situation and decided, doesn't mean you want to leave the industry or you didn't want to leave, but or maybe you did. I don't know. That's between you and you. But you found ways to discover whatever could be next and whatever could be better for you and stepped into that. And I think that's a universal message. We all are faced at certain points in our life with that kind of challenge that requires us to step back away from the desk and take a look around and assess and see how to move forward. But continuing to move forward is the important part, staying encouraged and finding your quality of life.
And sometimes that's really scary. It was a little bit scary to step out into a new role and to do something that was not a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 hourly compensation type position and do something that was dramatically different, where I had more responsibility and was essentially management. And so that was quite a big step, but stepping forward in faith and trusting myself and going for it, it was a great decision that I made. So even though it's scary, sometimes you just got to go for
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. I love it. Yes. Okay, so as we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share with us? This is kind of a free question that, if you could talk about anything, if you could say one last thing, what would it be?
it. One last thing, what would it be? Well, I think, Chelsea, I really appreciate this opportunity to be able to have this chat with you and to talk about quality of life, because I think it is an important topic that we really need to consider and discuss. And especially in light of what I do and what I see every day, we're here celebrating life. That is our vision, is to celebrate life. We do that with dedication, innovation, and excellence every single day, with the services that we provide for families and helping to come alongside and create really meaningful tributes for each individual person, something that's very personalized and different. So I would just say every single day is a gift. And I just hope that every single person that might be watching this is just encouraged to take a deep, fresh, new breath and enjoy today, enjoy their loved ones, celebrate whatever moment they can. And it doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes we think things have to be on a big, grand scale. Just having special moments for yourself, special moments with loved ones, just to really cherish those things and, enjoy.
Beautiful. I'm going to take a deep breath now. Thank you. Thank you for being with me and sharing a little bit about what you do and your story. And the woman that I know that's before me, I know has a heart for people and for helping people along the way wherever they are. And so thank you for the work that you do. And we will leave some information about how to contact your company and you for any kind of questions or any kind of even consultations. I know that you have time and space to give little tours, which are really great, y'all. They're great to do. And if you're even not in the area, get thinking about this. This is not something to be put off to tomorrow, if at all possible. But let's just keep thinking about it because, well, I'll just leave it at that. All right. Well, thank you so much, and I will see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Chelsea.
Next week, I share such a fun discussion with Charmaine Horn as she authentically shares some of her many superpowers drawn from her own healing journey.
I know we talk about authenticity, but strangely, it still seems like it's not allowed. The real, raw, true emotions that somebody has, especially like an entrepreneur.
I'm Chelsea. I help women discover and create our own version of quality of life so that we can actually feel good and enjoy the life we're living. See you next week.